Everybody, Tim here with tonight's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 25, Timescapes. I don't know how I feel about this episode. I guess I'll kind of work through my feelings and then have an idea at the end. I guess I like it. I think it's interesting. Right off the bat, this episode was directed by Adam Nimoy, the son of legendary Spock actor Leonard Nimoy. He had previously directed Rascals, and this is his second episode. I think it's his last episode, too. And at first, I was totally convinced that this was a bottle episode, which, if you guys remember, and it could have been. If you guys remember, it's those episodes where they keep things really tight for budget constraints, so that way they can use the money in other places, especially with the season finale being the next episode. I was like, oh, this is totally a bottle episode. So the first half of this episode takes place on a runabout, and this is the first time we've seen a runabout in The Next Generation, and I'm pretty sure it's the only time we see it. I can't quite remember next episodes. So for those that don't watch don't watch Deep Space Nine, a runabout is usually seen in that show. It's basically their shuttles. It's an upgraded version of it. They're pretty bitchin', to be honest. I really like them, and so it's kind of cool. So we see Picard. Who do we see? Picard, Geordi, Data, and Troi. I just watched this episode. I'm already forgetting. So we see the four of them, and they're on a runabout, and they're coming back from a conference. And they're just kind of talking about it, joking around, having fun. And time starts acting funny. At one point, Geordi, Picard, and Data freeze. And Deanna is watching them and can't get them to move and has no empathic sense that they're even there. And then the reverse happens. Troi freezes and the three of them see her. And then at one point, Picard reaches for a table and his hand ages. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And it turns out that there's like little bubbles of temporal energy everywhere. And they're just basically flying through it. So they finally get to the Enterprise. And the Enterprise is in battle, or what looks like it's in battle, with a Romulan ship, a Romulan bird of prey. And they're basically firing at each other. So, of course, in some sort of scientific or Star Trek sci-fi mumbo-jumbo, they get armbands that we've seen technically before, but never again, that enables them to basically bubble themselves around the time bubbles and transport her over to find out what's going on. And again, things aren't what they seem, but they look super intense, where it looks like a Romulan shooting Beverly in the stomach, and there's Romulans in the transporter, and there's Romulans on the bridge, and there's all sorts of hell breaking loose. I'm just going to cut through all of that, boil it down, get to the end of the episode, and it turns out that this weird temporal species was trying to use like the Romulan warp core to incubate its young or something. And it's just like, it got really weird. Like, it was super interesting, and then it just kind of, I don't know if I was losing interest or it's been a long day. I've been awake for like 24 hours. I don't know if it's just too much for me, but it started at the end. I was just like, this is just kind of getting to be a little too much for me. And then they back up time just a little bit because there's different species on there, and they're trying to stop Geordi and Troi and all the others from figuring out what's going on because their young are suspended in there. Of course, we're able to basically take care of them, send them back to their own dimension, rewind time so the Enterprise doesn't explode, and everybody lives on happily ever after. Kind of interesting to note, this is the third time we've seen the Enterprise D explode. We saw it in Time Squared, which is that one where it was going down like the funnel, and Picard like sent himself back in time for like 6 hours. We saw it explode there, and we saw it explode in Cause and Effect, the Kelsey Grammer episode, and now this time. So we've seen the Enterprise D explode like 3 different times, and then we'll see it explode again some more. Future spoilers. So, for those who have seen this one, like I said, I've super boiled it down. To me, I actually like the first half more, where they're just on the runabout, like, what's going on? More than when we get to the Romulan part. I don't know. What do you guys think if you've seen this one? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What do you guys think about the runabout? I like how it's a little bit of a shout out to Deep Space Nine. To me, I wish they'd done more stuff like that. So go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time. I don't know if it's going to be live or not, for the Season 6 finale, Season 7 premiere, Descent.